Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life.
Welcome back to another fun episode of Next to Madison. I'm your host, Madison Malloy, and on today's episode, we are talking love, dating, and relationships. It is 2025, and we want everyone to find the love they are looking for, which is why on this episode, I am sitting down with the president of one of the top international matchmaking firms, Kelleher International, cream of the crop. They have been around for over 35 years. They have worked with so many people. They know a thing or two when it comes to relationships and love. With an 89% success rate, these people are people that you probably want to take serious. I had a ton of questions. Nothing was off limits. She answered everything. I share some deep, funny personal dating stories as well. You guys are not going to want to miss this episode. There's some episodes I'm very serious on here, and then there's some episodes where I really get to kind of step into my comedy shoes again and have fun. And this episode was definitely one of those. So I wish you all success in love and dating. If you have a single friend, please make sure to tag them and share this. And don't forget to rate us, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll be right back after this brief message. I hope you guys enjoy this amazing episode.
It's your host, Madison Malloy, and I have exciting news. My new product is now available on Amazon called Color Your Way to Abundance, a 21-day manifestation guide for wealth, health, and love. This unique coloring journal will help you manifest by coloring in the affirmations while you continue to repeat them. This will help activate these affirmations so they become a reality. Grab your copy today and relax, color, and start manifesting.
All right, we are back with our amazing guest on this episode of Next to Madison, where we are talking about everybody's favorite topic, well, besides money, which is love and dating and relationships. I always want to tell people your life is what you make it. So if you think dating sucks, it's because you've got the wrong mindset. But on today's episode, I'm sitting down with the president of one of the biggest international matchmaking firms in the world, the president, Jennifer Wills. Welcome to the show. How are you? Kelleher International. I forgot to say your company name.
Kelleher International. That's
Yes.
us. That's us. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We're gonna just like dive into this. So you guys have been around for 35 years.
Yeah, actually a little over 35 years if you sort of look all the way back to when Jill Kelleher first started dabbling herself as a just one person shop, and then it sort of grew exponentially from there.
Because I feel like matchmaking has really gotten popular now and it's normal, but back in the day it was like, what made her say like, hey, people aren't meeting people in high school and college or at the local pub. We need some help.
So I think so much of matchmaking, and particularly as it pertains to our founder, Jill Kelleher, is just intuition and the ability to read and understand people and just that fundamental desire to help them. And so she started this by putting together little dinner parties, right? But making sure she curated who was going to be there based on the likelihood of them connecting. So that was the origin of Kelleher, was her having these little just dinner get-togethers and really highly personalized matchmaking where there would be just a handful of people there. And she was thinking this one and this one and this one.
Yeah. And so she was obviously successful enough to be like, this is a business. I'm on to something.
Yeah. And she really loved it. And, so many people who are in this firm now have done other things. So there's a really expansive mixed bag of skill sets here.
Right.
But you can do almost anything. And you find that the most important thing, whoever you're talking to, is their relationship, right? Their business life, their friendships, all those things are so influenced by whether or not they have the partner and whether or not they have the right partner.
Oh.
So it's really a critical part of a lot of people's lives, and to be able to move that needle for them it's really amazing, and it's frankly fun.
Yeah. Well, they say 95% of your happiness is all about marrying the right person.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people marry the wrong person because they feel that they're running out of time. They're in a scarcity mindset.
Mhm.
And, like I just got to pick somebody. So the benefit obviously of matchmaking is that I feel like the matchmakers can do the first 3 dates.
Exactly. That's
You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah. Do you want a job? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No, but
exactly, right? I can
exactly.
always trust me. It's fine. Anything to make money, I'll help you.
But it's exactly what it is what we actually have taken the time to get to know somebody before we say, hey, here's somebody that you should meet. We've gotten to know them in a conversational kind of way. Yes, we do background checks. Yes, there are sort of structured interviews and there's pieces of information that we're looking to get, but we know what makes them laugh. We know how easily they smile. We know what happens when their dog accidentally jumps up on them in the middle of an interview, right? We know how people react to situations.
Yeah.
So when we're presenting somebody, it's not just, hey, here's somebody whose picture we think you're going to like, and they have a great background, and on paper, you guys are great. We actually know the person.
Yeah. So there's a difference in matchmaking, which some people know and some people don't. There's the paid client, the one who you work for,
Correct.
and then there's the database. And a lot of women will go into a database. I think you guys added me to your database. I'm like, find me somebody so I can be like, they actually did it. But the database, I feel I don't have a lot of luck with the database. I don't know if I'm too old or just too cool. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I'm going to go with the latter. Well, we hear a lot. People reach out to us and like, am I too old? Am I too young? Am I too something?
Yeah.
And I think 10 years ago, matchmaking really existed more in that kind of 45 to 65 area age range. But we have clients who are 20 and 21 years old, and we have clients who are 85 years old.
Wow.
There's there's a lid for every pot, and it sounds like a ridiculous cliche, but it's true. And I think when people have spent and wasted a lot of time trying to find the right person and then they get serious, they're looking for some level of efficiency and expediency, right?
Yeah.
Accountability. And they're like, okay, if I want to do an estate plan or if I want to invest my portfolio, I'm going to go find an expert and I'm going to ask them to help me. And
Amen. Yeah,
that's
no, it's true. I guess it's like the heart. I know it's so funny. It's like we're all love. We're made of love. We're supposed to love is the biggest form of energy, but yet it's all struggle so hard to find it. But
well, and I think a lot of us get in our own way around it, right? Because there's also
oh,
this image of like the fairy tale, right? It's not
the rom-coms.
right. He's not perfect. She's not perfect. This is hard. Relationships are hard. They're hard. Two fully functioning, hopefully, adult
Hopefully it's right.
trying to integrate with each other.
Hmm.
Really, let's say they've been married before and now their kids involved and there's an ex involved and everybody trying to, you know, shit gets real sometimes and you have to be able to deal with that and you have to be able to process it and move forward from it. But
So when somebody hires you, what is the success rate?
the success rate is about 89%. And there's a reason.
That's very good. And I'm surprised why 89 and not like 82 or 95, whatever. 89 is very specific.
Yeah. So it's that high because we are very thoughtful about who we take on as clients. And after as many years as we've been doing this, that's kind of, that's a luxury that we have, frankly, to have, we get to know our clients before they hire us. It's not just, oh, I want to hire you and therefore I'm going to write you a check and off we go.
Yeah.
Concerning. We want to make sure that they're cool and nice people and that they have integrity and that they're here for the right reasons and all the things, but also that their expectations are reasonable, right? And that we're going to be able to be successful because not, sometimes people have this person in their mind's eye and it's the likelihood of that happening is very, very low. We'll try, but let's try to find somebody who's really a great fit. And when somebody gets stuck on certain aspects of somebody, getting to the bottom of why is it important that she's, over 5'10"? Why?
Right.
Like, has anyone ever gotten divorced over height? No. Right? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
those things where you're like, okay, well, she has to have light eyes. Okay. So you like light eyes, but she has to have light eyes? Like, why? Was that the first girl that you fell in love with had light eyes and you're trying to bring that back? Right. And so just understanding why people get hung up on certain things that aren't necessarily directive in the success of a relationship and trying to recalibrate those patterns.
Right. Because I'm sure you have a lot of guys that kind of come in and they're looking for a unicorn.
Everybody's unicorn hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's like, I think it's like guys, I have a lot of guy friends that are, divorced or whatnot. And when they get out, they just want to stick their dick in everything that moves. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's a million pocket pussies that I could order on Amazon for you. It would be safer, it'd be quicker, they wouldn't reject you, and you don't have to buy them dinner. But they choose the human. And they literally are like, it's not working. I'm so exhausted. These women are, and I'm like, duh, hello. Like, you need standards. And it's just this old saying. Many guy friends have told me this, and I think it's true. Men bang tens, but they marry sevens.
I actually haven't heard that, but there is probably some truth to that. And the other piece of it is
Yeah.
think about it. When you get out of a relationship, you're kind of like, I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to go have some fun. I want it to be light. I want no pressure. I want it,
Yeah.
like, I don't want someone challenging me. I just want to go have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's kind of what a lot of these people that you're talking about, that's what they're doing. And we see people come to us at various points, right? Sometimes they're fresh out of a relationship. Sometimes they've been out of a relationship for a long time. Sometimes it's a divorce. Sometimes they lost a spouse. And
Yeah.
all those different people show up incredibly differently to us. And a lot of the men who are fresh out of a divorce, they're a little pissed off at their
Mm.
spouse, right? Maybe they felt like, I really didn't want to give away whatever I had to give away or whatever the case might be. And it's almost like they want to go out and prove something to the world. But I would say 90% of them, after they've done that for a year or so, are like, okay, that was enough. She was really hot and then she opened her mouth and started to talk and right. But I mean, that's the truth. Like you can look at anybody, but eventually they're going to start talking. And what are you guys going to talk about?
Yeah, no, it is very true. So you think that men and women, it's at least a year after a divorce before they're really ready to jump into something.
There's not like a hard and fast rule, but yeah, and I think it's healthy for people to take a little bit of time,
Yeah.
to process the relationship, B, get happy with yourself. Divorce is hard, even if
Mm-hmm.
you think you're totally in the right, and even if it's quote amicable, everybody's a little pissed off after a divorce. It just is what
Yeah.
people invested a lot of time and emotion and energy, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And so you have to give yourself time to kind of recalibrate after. It's just
Yeah.
normal. There's nothing wrong with it. So, it's very rare for somebody to run out of one marriage and truly be prepared to enter into a solid relationship with another partner.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. That's why, like, if I'm dating somebody and they're divorced, I'm like, how long have you been divorced?
And what have you done with that, right? What have you done
Yeah.
with that being divorced? Have you thought about, I mean, instead of going, oh, it's her fault or it's his fault, like, do you take any ownership? What could you have done?
Mm. That's no, it's very good. I think it's knowing the accountability and how they talk about their ex too, I think is a big thing. If they keep calling them crazy or assholes or whatever, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, what would they say about you, right? There's always the two truths or two lies and one truth.
Yeah. Well, there's
Two
kind of,
sides and then the truth. There we go.
yes, two sides and then the truth, which is generally somewhere in the middle.
Perfect. All right. I've come up with some fun questions. Um, okay, so we'll go through these, right? So what do you think is going to be the dating trend for 2025?
The dating trend for 2025. I think that we're seeing more and more people who are less focused on marriage, the institution of marriage per se, and
Mhm.
more focused on the fundamental relationship, and whether it leads to marriage or not is almost irrelevant, but they're really much more focused on the overall quality of the relationship.
Okay. Because I think like with marriage, I mean, at least speaking from me, I'll speak for myself. Marriage is kind of it prevents you from just walking away when things get hard. It forces you to kind of work things out. It creates a real solid foundation, like a family. And I'm Christian, so you're not living in sin all the time. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if I would like be with somebody for 10 years without getting married. I don't think I would.
Well, and I think it depends on what your previous experience has been. If you've been married previously, or if you haven't been married,
I've never been married, so that's probably why.
that probably influences. And it's not necessarily everybody, but more and more the conversations we're having is about the quality of the relationship, and not, we ask, do you want to get married?
Yeah.
Say, if it's truly the right person, I want to get married, but that's not necessarily the underlying goal. The underlying goal is to find a partner.
Yeah. That's what we all want, right? We want that teammate that we can go on vacation with and have good days with and bad days with, and like your true partner in crime. And then somebody you can hump their face, it's always a good thing. So here we go. What's the most common mistake you find that people make when they're trying to find love?
I would say the most common mistake is to focus on things other than the value systems, to get bogged down in just the physical, or does the person ski? Does the person play tennis? Right. And a lot of people do, well, she has to ski, or he has to play tennis, or he has to play golf. Well, that's a nice to have, but is that the core of your relationship? Probably not. If you
Right,
guys
because you can learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I laugh at that ski thing because I'm from Colorado originally, and it's the first question everybody asks. Do you ski? It's the first question. And the answer is no, I don't. And I don't, but I have a very good reason of why I don't ski. First of all, because my dad was a CPA, my mom had epilepsy, kind of took us off the mountain. You got tax season. She couldn't get on the mountain. She's cured now. And then we became athletes. So by the time, so I was a snowboarder actually. So I did, people are like, you don't ski. I'm like, I snowboard. They're like, same thing. I'm like, no, not at all. Because snowboarding was cooler, I guess. So I snowboarded. And then when you're really competing in athletes, nobody was allowed on the mountain after January. So you had like a month of ski season. So I have friends that are like all American, went on to D1 schools, full ride scholarships, and they've never skied. And it's because of the sport. So when people say like, how can you be from Colorado and not ski? I'm like, they were probably an athlete. So it's a little bit of education for everybody listening out there. It's not that they're lazy. It's that they're so good at sports. They couldn't get on the mountain.
Loud.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I was like, I was a snowboarder. Okay. So what do you think is one thing, in your opinion, that people should immediately stop doing if they're trying to find true love?
I would say the constant focus on who else. Like when you find somebody that you really like, don't get stuck in, well, who else is out there? It's like the paradox of choice. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Where it's like you just kind of keep swiping, there's another one, or there's another one, there's another one. And you never actually stop and say, well, there's always going to be another one. There's not necessarily just one person that you're going to think is absolutely gorgeous, right? So give yourself the opportunity to settle in and see if that person is meaningful to you, as opposed to just constantly looking for the next sparkly object.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have that. The apps is what's made that worse.
It's commoditized people a lot.
Yes, because you don't have to work shit out anymore. People just like, oh, well, fuck it. You did one bad thing, or I don't want to work through this. I don't have any communication or conflict resolution skills because I live on my freaking phone all day long and I don't know how to communicate. And then they're just like, oh, there's more pussy or penis on the swiping right or left. But the thing is, those apps are not set up for success. Aren't they designed though to keep you on it? Because I mean, what a stupid business model. Well, I mean, I
Well,
guess you got the same
look at
one,
it.
right? But yeah.
If they're gonna keep you on there and the revenue is gonna keep coming. I mean, there are definitely people who have a lot of success, but they're not the people who are really the target audience for the apps, right? The people who are the target audience for the apps are the people for whom this is gamified, right? This is fun. This swiping is fun. This swiping and the banter and the lack of accountability. And I can be whoever I want to be behind the safety of just bantering with somebody. I don't even ever have to show up, right? I never,
Yeah.
I can just sort of be this personality, this person, whoever it is that day. And it doesn't even have to be authentically me. It,
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, and for girls, I have some girls, it's like their college dorm meal ticket. You know what I mean? Like, talk about a great way to dine out on the city.
it's true. Gotta eat. The girls gotta eat.
That became a very famous podcast, right? It's like absolutely what a great name. But no, so speaking of that though, with your business, people pay a very hefty amount of money. Are they You will work with them till they find somebody, or is there like a term limits?
So there's actually a term and
Oh,
there's a range. Some memberships are 12 months of active search. Some of them go up to 24 months of active search. So it really depends on the specific search itself and how we structure it.
so if somebody came in and said, okay, I want to pay for the 12-month membership, they have an 89% chance of finding their spouse.
Well, so what is success? Success is getting into a relationship through this process.
Mm,
Ultimately, the clients have to be responsible for
keeping
the
it together.
we're not following them along for the rest of their life. Now, don't do that. That's kind of rude. Don't do it.
What
Right.
a great service, though.
Yeah.
You guys should add that. That's the best business model.
10 years in, kind of pop up at dinner going, no, that was inappropriate. Like
Exactly.
necessary. I mean, don't look at her. That's really uncool.
Are you kidding me? To have a dating coach with you through the entire relationship is like the most
Brony.
genius idea. They like come out with you like twice a week and they're like, why would you say that?
You have this little bug in your ear and they're like, don't, no, don't touch that. Don't, no. Oh, you got to apologize right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're all humans and we're gonna
Back,
mess
quiet
up.
back, quiet now. Yeah.
So okay, so what happens? All right, so let me understand this because I could be talking to a lot of your future clients. You pay this hefty sum, you get in a relationship, but what if that relationship only lasts 3 months, but I paid for the 12 months? You get to come back in.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have the active term, which is the 12 months to 24 months. There's an additional 12 months of hold time, which is in place exactly for that. So
Mm,
in month 3 of your 12-month membership, you meet somebody and you're like, this person is the best. And this is it. They go on what we call hold. So they pause the active search. And let's say 6 months in, they're like, we just went to Europe for a week and yeah. Uh-uh. So now they still have 9 months of active search and they still have another 6 months of hold time. So it's a cumulative time that you can take incrementally.
God. So there's not this pressure of like, because yeah, I would think like you spent all this money and then you're like, well, I don't want to get into a relationship because I haven't met all the fish in the sea.
And we asked that question out of the gate. Would you be happy if it was one or done? Or are you looking forward to dating people and meeting a bunch of people?
Yeah.
We asked that question. So we know what that client's hoping for. Some people are like, look, if you find him or her right out of the gate, that is why I'm hiring you. I don't care if it's
Mm,
tomorrow, 6 months, 12, I don't care when it is. I'm hiring you for the goal, for the end result. I'm not hiring you necessarily for the journey, but some people do hire us for the journey.
yeah. Okay, that's very interesting. And so do you advise your clients like, hey, don't penetrate this person until a certain you're getting my whole comedy side coming out. You know what I mean? Like,
We talk about penetration. Um, well, so we do know sort of how people approach intimacy in a relationship. Some people are like, let's figure out if we're compatible that way. Let's go.
Mm.
Do. And some people are like, look, I'm a slow mover. I'm gonna have to, go out with somebody 5 or 6 times before I'm willing to do that, or before I'm willing to travel with them. That's just how I am. But that's how well we know people before we match them.
No, it's smart. Well, it's the old saying, like, I tell my girlfriends this because I learned the hard way when I was younger too. There's a saying out there. Listen up, ladies. It's called the power of the pussy. And it's true. It is so true. You cannot give that shit up until you get what you want. And that's why I'm at this
Buy
point
a cow
now.
and milk for free. Isn't that the old saying?
Yes. Yes.
I'm older than you are.
You're right. But you look fabulous.
Bye-bye.
But now it's like power of the pussy. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, the men I've slept with, which are not a lot, I'm very proud of that. But I'm thinking to myself, they didn't give me what I wanted. Half of them I didn't want to marry, thank God, or more than that. But I'm thinking to myself, like, why would I not? I'm waiting until like I feel like this person could give me the future I want. Why the hell would I give that up? Like, because I feel like the emotional intimacy is the harder connection. The physical, that's the easy shit.
Yeah. And I
I'm
think different people view emotional intimacy a little bit different. Like they need to know that that's there before they can even entertain something meaningful with this person, right? Or what is the sex like? Is it good? What if I fall deeply in love with this person and the sex sucks? What happens then?
I feel like if you're in love with somebody, it's impossible for the sex to suck.
It's unlikely, but could happen. Or
Yeah,
it's
that's
compatible, it's uncomfortable, whatever. I mean, true. If you're emotionally tied to somebody, you wouldn't think that would happen, but it can move the needle, so to speak, one way or the other.
yeah. Well, I've also had guy friends that are told me, they're like, listen, you can bang him on the first date or you can wait till the 15th date. If he was gonna leave, he was gonna leave anyway. So I don't think you have to put so much pressure on yourself of like holding out and doing certain things. It's like whenever you're comfortable. I was like,
Yeah.
no, that makes sense. I mean, I do believe, and in my field of work, it's like, you can't necessarily screw something up that's meant for you. I mean, if you kill the son of a bitch, of course, and steal or whatever, you don't do that. But normally,
Yeah.
you know,
Know yourself well enough to know how does sex impact you. So there are a lot of women that I know and some men
I get attached.
who once they've had sex with somebody, they are attached, whether it's a
Yes.
good decision or a bad decision. It gets in the way of them thinking really clearly and objectively about the person and about the relationship, because now they've had sex with them, and all the hormones and all the stuff is now
Ugh.
their perception of the person and the perception of the relationship.
Well, exactly. And I'm pumped full of testosterone because that's what I needed. I'm not trying to be a man. I'm just saying, like, that's apparently with the hormone that was imbalanced. And have you heard of these hormone replacement therapy
Oh,
things?
oh, yeah. Mhm.
Well, the testosterone part of it, let me tell you something. I don't think the divorce rate would be 67% if every woman was doing TRT. I am
Really?
not kidding you. I think it is the single-handedly thing that would save every marriage. You are so horny, you just want to hump a couch, you hump a arm. It's just there's no and as somebody who's like, oh my God, Jesus is coming back any minute, um, it's very frustrating. 'Cause you're like, I can't do anything. And my doctor was like, you should go to a bar and meet a guy. And I'm like, no, like I'd rather just get a toy.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, so yes, there's no, so if guys like, oh, well, are you not sexual? I'll be like, oh, you have no idea. It's like, honey, I'm pumped full of pellets and I'm ready to roll. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Got it.
I had an older friend who told me, he said I got he's older. I don't know, maybe 65, 66, something like that. Something where your dick don't work. But his dick working, I guess. And he was dating this woman. She was an older woman as well. And he said, I had to dump her. And I said, why? And he goes, because she was on those testosterone pellets. She wouldn't get off my dick. I thought I was going to die inside of her.
Oh my,
It was one of the funniest lines I've ever heard in my life.
good and bad and everything.
I thought it was great. I told you we were going to have fun, Jennifer. You're probably like, what did I just sign up for? Is this? I was a comedian. I have a book called Time to Lighten the Fuck Up. I'm sure you did your research. It is all good. All right, let's talk about everybody's biggest fear, rejection. How do people build up their confidence to get over the fear of rejection when it comes to dating? Because you're going to get rejected a lot.
You're going to get rejected. And I think there's no way for humans not to feel rejection, right? But so often the rejection is not necessarily, you have to turn around. It's not about you. It's kind of about them, right? And instead of taking it personally, I mean, how many people have we met that were amazing people and maybe they had like a really big crush on you and you're like, you're incredible. I wish I could get there. I just can't get there. They're
Yep.
completely rejected and you still think this person hung the moon. You just don't want to sleep with them.
I just rejected somebody yesterday. And I love this person to death. I think this person's the best human being on the planet, but like, that's my buddy. I'm never going to sacrifice that. Like, I would do anything for you, but I just can't sit on your face. Just can't do it. I should probably be more appropriate with you if you're supposed to find my husband. But we are in performance mode.
But also, like with rejection, you have to, we do a lot of coaching. If something doesn't work out, let's talk about it. Let's see,
Yeah.
something you could do differently. Let's grow from that experience and let's figure out, okay, if that person doesn't appreciate that aspect of you, is that somebody you really want?
Well,
No.
exactly. And I had to think too, being a comedian, it's, I used to have a lot of trouble dating. I thought because I had this own narrative in my head of, like, oh, they're not, all these men want like boring women that aren't fun and entertaining. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Like, and there's some men that are like, oh my God, this girl can tell a better dick joke than I can. There's no freaking way. And then some men are like, you're the greatest thing. But it's like finding somebody that fits for you. Like,
Yeah.
I have guy friends that are like, want to date like a stick in the mud because they just want somebody there. And they're
Right.
okay with that. They're like, I don't
Yeah.
really need them to talk as long as we're good. But like for me, like I've got a big personality.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is think about when you've dated somebody and a lot of people come into relationships and they're kind of in pleasing mode, right? And they're a little bit
Oh,
than they really are. And then eventually the real you starts to like creep out into the relationship and they're like, who are you? Wait, you're not the person who said yes to every time I wanted to go out with my friends instead of yours. You were always yes, yes, yes. And now all of a sudden you're like, nah, I'm gonna go out with my friends instead. And they're like, who are you? And
yeah,
show yourself, tell the truth, be you. If it's not going to work, it's not going to get better 6 months or a year into the relationship. Be true to yourself. If that's not what they're looking for, to your point earlier, it's going to end at some point in time anyway.
exactly. And you just saved yourself a lot of time and a lot of heartache. And the thing is, you can't be anyone else but you because there's only one of you and you're
And
amazing.
why would you want to be? Why would you
We,
want
you don't. That's why it's like, no, but yeah. And I think it's important for women. I mean, I'm at that point now where it's like, I don't go out on dates thinking like, I hope he likes me. No, that doesn't even cross my mind. I'm like, am I going to like them?
to? And
Like,
there's
I know amazing people and I've done amazing shit and I have amazing stuff going on. Like, I'm not just going to settle for anybody.
no.
Like,
And there's
hell no.
don't have that confidence though. And
Mm.
part of our role is to make people see the fantastic aspects of themselves and to build them up and to show them, yeah, you do deserve somebody who's going to value every part of you, not just the parts that you think
Yeah.
like be you. Whoever it is going to love the good, the bad, the ugly, the weird, like all of it.
this is where you need to bring in Madison Malloy into your business. I could whoop these guys and girls right into kick-ass shape. They would be ready to go. They wouldn't even know what hit them. They're like, what just happened to me? Like, why do I feel like I can conquer the world? Be like, because you just went through Madison Malloy's boot camp. Don't worry, I'd have a lot of fun. We could make like, gosh, we could do like spoof videos. It'd be so, gotta have so many questions, but I gotta make sure we get to everything. All right, here is one of the questions. What's your opinion on long distance relationships?
I think where there's a will, there's a way. I really do. While they're not necessarily the most convenient, you know, most people, if you really need to be with somebody 24/7, there's probably a separate issue that needs to be addressed. But if people are motivated to make it work, they'll make it work. Right? I mean, how many stories have you heard of people who met in the airport and they're not going on the same place and they figure it out? I mean, it makes it a lot easier if somebody is closer or at least in the same time zone. But at least for us, we're looking for the right person, not the closest person.
True. Wait, how many people actually meet in the airport? Is this like is this a big statistic?
You've never heard this? I have a bunch of friends who have met people and had significant relationships with somebody that they met either in line while boarding or, go figure, in the bar.
Well, this is why you got to go to the lounges. But okay, so you're telling me I should stop dressing like a homeless person when I fly?
Alas, yeah, you might want to take a shower, clean it up a little bit.
I shower. I just literally look homeless. I have no makeup and my hair will be up and I'm like wrapped in like things. People are like, she's either homeless or super famous. We don't know, but that is a hot mess. We have no idea what's going on.
The person who picks you out in that condition, he's going to love you when he sees you cleaned up.
Exactly, right? I'll be like, it only gets better. I used to tell my friends, I said, look as horrible as you can on the first date. I said, because if it goes well, it's only up from there.
Yeah.
Versus people do the opposite. They look the best and then it just gets worse. But I gotta tell you, I don't know if it's something like I know when I don't like I'm just like in casual clothes or hadn't washed my hair, like my hair is up, I got a little bit of makeup on. I get more approached. And I think it's because like my walls come down. I think when I like do all my hair and I'm in like a nice outfit or whatever, I feel like the walls come up just to protect when I go out. But when I'm like just kind of in my zone with no makeup on, people are like, you're actually like, there's like, you're very approachable.
Exactly. So when we get dressed up and we put on the heels and the makeup, we kind of builds the confidence and you have a little bit of swagger, right? And that's a little less approachable for a lot of men. Whereas if you're a naturally attractive woman and you're just comfortable being you, that's a really approachable and really attractive quality in women. Like so many women, they overdo it, right? There's too much going on. And men say, I know what she's going to look like when we go out to dinner or when we go to bed, but what is she going to look like when we wake up?
Oh, I didn't think about it. Yeah, right. I mean, you've got half these girls with the freaking lashes on. It's like a caterpillar landed on their eyeball. I'm like, can we stop with the lash extensions? It's seriously, I'm like, you look like you have a bug on your face.
Yeah.
Like it's, and it's like, what do those look like? But I think the thing is too, is like, I feel, because I go out to a lot of like high-end places in New York City, and like, I have a lot of guy friends and we'll kind of like look around, and I think these guys are very intimidated. Like you don't want to look too expensive because then they'll think you're a hooker. There's a lot of hookers. And they're like, I don't know if that person does it for free or not. I mean, the free girl costs more in the long run, but
where are you going? What bars are you going to?
Good question. I'll tell you. Let's just list them out. We've got Avra, we've got Penelope, we've got all Casa Cipriana, we've got all. You go into any hotel bar in New York City, LA, any major
hotel
city
bar, there's got to be pros.
You've got so many hookers. Are you kidding me? I'm telling you, I almost want to just be like, I'm writing a script one night and just go in as a hooker and see how much I can make. Not really, but You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking to myself,
Edit
I'm
that
like,
part out.
yeah, no. Oh no, we leave it all. No, but the thing is true. It's like it's hilarious because I used to do this joke when I was like, doing more heavy stand-up, where I would say, hookers get such a bad reputation. And it gets crazy. Like we're always just like, ugh, that's gross. And it's like, not really. These people are geniuses. Like they have figured out how to turn their pussy into a bank. Like mine operates like a nonprofit organization. Like who's the fool? You know what I mean? I'm like, who's the
Spoken
smart?
like a good Christian girl.
That's what I'm saying, right? That's what I tell people. I said, no, I'm a good Christian girl. I suck dick for free. But I'm thinking that my mom loves that joke. She's like, you need to go to church. But you know what I mean? Like I think that, but that's the thing too, is you don't want to look too expensive because some guys might be like, there's just too much work.
High maintenance.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's, it's interesting because there are definitely men who will tell you, I want a woman who does her nails. I want a woman who, knows how to dress up. And then there are other men who are like, none of it. I want somebody who doesn't wear makeup. I don't care if she has wrinkles on her forehead. I don't want somebody who's running off to get needles poked in her face all the time. I want natural.
Okay. So yeah, there is somebody for everyone, right?
Buddy.
Yeah. So no, but it is true. But it's the high mate. I I went on, I gotta tell you this dating story. I was on a date with a guy. It's probably about 8 years ago. And sometimes I would do my nails, but like I don't have the time to sit there. And so okay. So like I don't do them either.
I start getting stir crazy and they
Yes.
start yelling at me like I gotta go.
Like I do my toes because I can work, right? But like once you take my hands, I'm like, wait a second, I can't do anything. So I was on a date with this guy, and the guy goes, do you ever do your nails? And I said, no, not really. Like at that
Nope.
point, I'm like, it's kind of a waste of money. It always chips. And he's like, well, I don't really like to see an unpolished finger on my cock. Greatest line.
Date. Was there a date too? Okay, just checking.
Yes,
We need to know how deep we need to go with you.
there was a date too. It was at the nail salon. So, but I thought to myself, as a comedian, I'm like, oh, this is great material. Like, I'm not mad. I'm like, oh, I'm like, really? But I'm thinking to myself, how much ass is this guy getting that he gets to choose like what type of manicure goes on his cock? You know what I mean? Like most guys are like, she could have a hangnail and not showered. It's just there.
Yeah.
But
I'm just
yeah, but that was my nail thing. But no, there are some guys that are like, I really want the nails, but it's like, are you paying for it?
yeah.
That's the question. If some guy's like, I
Yeah.
want you to have your nails done, I'll be like, great, then you'll pay for it.
Yeah. Well, and then there are men who, are very successful and they are so accustomed to that being the focal point that they make the mistake of leading with that. And then they're surprised when that seems to be shift her to focus on it too. Like if date two, you're going shopping with somebody, you're
Oh,
not
hello.
for success. You're just not. Give it a minute.
Date two. I gotta find some guys to take me shopping. The only man that's ever taken me shopping, my father. So my daddy, but not that type of daddy.
That kind
My
of
actual daddy. But I'm actually proud of that because I'm like, I don't mind people getting me gifts, but like just the whole thing of like people other than like your parents taking you shopping. And I'm like, this hasn't happened. I'm an old woman, so it's not happened in years, but it's just weird. Maybe I need to get over that.
I don't know. I think again, the focus of the relationship should be on the two of you and your shared values and not whether you like the same boutiques and whether he's willing to fund a shopping spree.
Exactly, right? I feel like if some guy was like, let me take you shopping, I would be like, is it back to school?
Yeah.
Like, where are we
Where are we going? What are we
going?
shopping for? Groceries? Are we cooking? What's happening? Yeah.
I'd be like, and I actually hate shopping. So I would be like, I hate shopping, but I like gifts. You want to go pick something out? I'm sure I'll love it. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. I'm glad that you're
Yeah.
rolling with my
Question for
stuff.
you. I have a question for you.
Oh yeah.
So what would be your idea of a fantastic first date?
That there's lots of laughter,
Mhm.
um, like easy conversation. You just feel comfortable, like you don't want it to end.
But what are you doing? Are you going to dinner? Are you doing, are you going for a hike? Are you just meeting for a drink? What are you
Uh,
doing?
dinner.
Dinner.
I like dinner. I don't like drink dates. People will be like, "Oh, let's grab a drink." And if I'm trying to like put a bunch in one day, then I'll do the drink. Um, that just called myself out. But other than that, I'm like, no, I'd rather FaceTime. I don't go out with anyone unless I FaceTime them.
Okay.
Because I've been out with enough people that I'm like, huh? This is like they look good in their pictures, and then they're just it's not that they're annoying. They you just don't vibe. I mean, they're like the thing is like I try not to criticize people because we're all amazing, beautiful creatures of God. We're just have different things. And so he's probably going to be the best person for somebody, but he just wasn't for me. And then I felt guilty because I'm a good person. I was like, he bought me drinks. And then I went to dinner because I had nothing to do and I was hungry. And then I'm like, he bought me dinner. Like I feel bad, but he was successful, so it doesn't matter. But like I'm like a good person. So I was like, oh, I should probably like buy him Taco Bell.
Right.
But no.
I love Taco Bell.
But no, I would say dinner. I had one guy that took me on a really fun second date. First date was this is a weird story. First date was dinner. Great
Mhm.
place. Got me an Uber. Awesome. Second date, some time had passed because we had Thanksgiving that came in between. He had gone through a breakup right before we met. During the time between our first and our second date, apparently they had talked and they were like, okay, let's maybe give it another go.
Mhm.
He decides not to cancel our second date because I was so cool.
Mhm.
So we go to brunch and then he takes me miniature golfing. And I was like, and we had a really good time. And then he tells me, like, oh, by the way, I reconnected with this girl. Now, I'm not mad because I'm like, good for you. Like, I know what it's like to be disappointed, be heartbroken, and have a connection with somebody. I'm just confused about why you came. Like, why
Yeah.
didn't you just, he's like, because I didn't want to like lose like a connection or a friendship with you. I just thought you were just one of the most unbelievable people I've ever met. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, now that you just took all the pressure off everything, it's football Sunday. Let's go get drunk at the bar. And we like went and watched like the Cowboys game and the Giants and that were on and drank beer and actually had the best time. And this guy checks in on me all the time. He's like, "How are you, rock star?" Like, and we've actually developed like a great friendship.
Well, that's the thing is not everybody that you meet has to slot into the romantic relationship, romantic partner piece. Like,
Yes.
I mean, can you really have too many amazing people in your life? Not really. And you don't have to sleep with all of them.
I don't have to sleep with him at all. It's great.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay. Actually, he just texted me why we've been on this podcast. It's hilarious. How are you feeling? He's like
Talk
my
to me
new best.
about, are your ears hurting?
Yeah, he's like literally like wants to be my best friend. But no, but the thing is like we could like I tell people like I have actually gone on dates with people that I've ended up doing business with.
Oh, yeah.
So I always say there's no such thing as a wrong date.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea. I've also gone on dates with people where I'm like, you are not for me, but you are perfect for my friend.
Absolutely.
So I think there's, one of our friends, my good friend that you guys are setting up with some people, that happened with your agency actually. She had gone on a date and was like, I'm not for you. We have nothing in common, but you're for her. Now, that guy and I had nothing in common either, but she thought of me, which I thought was very sweet.
Well, it does happen. We've had it happen before where we make an introduction, they become great friends, they go to something together as friends, and the woman ends up marrying his best friend.
Yeah,
But it's just about expanding your universe of great people around you. There's no downside to it.
there really isn't. And I do, it's like life, right? Like you get your perception is everything. Your perception shapes your reality. So if you're going to run out there and say there's no good people left, dating sucks, relationships are hard, the divorce rate's too, well, then that's what's going to show up in your shit. So try to have it. What would you say is a good mantra for people looking for love in 2025? That's a great question. Just thought of that.
You don't know what you don't know, so be curious.
I like that. I have not heard that. You don't know what you don't know, so be curious.
Yeah.
Which is like ask a lot of questions.
Which is like be open to possibilities. Don't get in your own way. Don't get small-minded. Don't get tunnel vision. You don't know what you don't know. Go meet somebody. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't. It's true. Go out there and take the chances in business and most importantly in
Put yourself
love.
out there. You don't, I mean, if you don't move, you never move, right? You have to move forward. You have to give yourself opportunities because otherwise you just stay where you are.
No, it's very true. What is your thought on a lot of like people in the law of attraction area will say, make a list of all the qualities you want and tell the universe it is done. What is your perception on that?
So, does everybody have a handful of things that they know they need in a partner? Absolutely. Do they also have a handful of things that are just, hell no, nope, not doing that? But if you start with like 100-point checklist, nobody's going to be perfect. If you say, I know I need this, these things are non-negotiable that I have to have. These are non-negotiable.
Yeah.
But everything else in between is, maybe. It's a nice.
True.
So that's how we encourage people to know.
Hang on. Do you want to do something really fun on this podcast?
Oh gosh. What?
I'm going to read my list.
Oh, okay.
I got nothing to hide. I'm a single woman looking for the real deal. And my faith in God, it's all good. I haven't looked at this for over a year.
That's a long.
But you'll understand. You're like, wow, this girl is like, but you'll understand that I'm not as crazy as this list makes me sound.
Okay.
My dream man, loyal, good communicator, trusting, believes and has faith in God, family orientated, hardworking, adores me, buys flowers / romantic, gives me reassurance, handsome, loving, good friend, social, driven, wants marriage, loves dogs, treats me like a princess, prioritizes our relationships, loves to travel, strong sexual desire. The only physical attribute I said brown or black hair. Ready for commitment, checks on me when apart, supportive, biggest cheerleader, in shape, healthy, loves kids, gentle soul. So it's like a list. It's like a good list. I wasn't like, and then like financially well off, you could put on there too. Like you want somebody who's like, you don't have to like support.
Yeah.
But I think that's but that's like but this is, I feel like is a normal standard list.
Listen, if you really think about it, and I don't remember exactly what they were, but there's so many of them that it's more of a category.
Yes, right. Like their characteristics or their values.
Character and values oriented. So and I forget what you said, but like my biggest cheerleader and supportive, like all those things.
Yeah.
Same thing, right? If you think about it. So I think there were like 4 or 5 of them, but they're really just the one thing that he loves.
Yeah. That he thinks, and he doesn't make me second guess.
Yeah.
But I don't have to be like, what's going on? Right? The right relationship is the easy relationship, as they say.
Yeah.
So that's my list. And I'm gonna have some stalker that listens to us and be like, I'm all that. And I'm like, no, you're not.
We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so to send off all our singles into a positive, amazing 2025 in love, and to stop this whole first, wait, before we do that, I got to talk about the toxicity of dating advice on social media. Because like TikTok, I love TikTok. I literally have to set a timer for like 15 minutes so I get the hell off of it because it sucks you in. There are so many bad advice. Like there's basically women out there being like, you need to treat him like a bitch. And you're like, what? That's the worst thing I've ever heard. So the big thing that was trending last year was the golden retriever black cat. Have you heard of this? Okay.
No.
So the golden retriever is like, I love you no matter what. And the
Right.
black cat is like, get the fuck away from me.
Right.
Right? So they're like, the man needs to be the golden retriever, the woman needs to be the black cat. I don't know if this is good dating advice. And this is the toxic shit that millions and millions of single people are listening to.
At the end of the day, a healthy, strong relationship comes from a mutuality of respect, consideration, support. It has to go both ways. Because ultimately, if it doesn't, one person feels let down, it breeds resentment. That's not sustainable. It all has to balance. It has to be mutual. And it doesn't mean that everybody comes to the table with the same skills, but they're able to balance it, right? And they
Yes.
complementary aspects to them that work. But it can't be that one person is responsible to chase and the other one's responsible to kind of shove them off.
Yeah, maybe like the first like couple dates, you don't want to be too but then
eager.
after right, but then after a while it's kind of like, huh? Like this is
I mean, the first 2 dates are not the relationship, right?
no. Well, so how many dates should somebody go on, do you think, before they have what are we?
I think it depends a little bit on the person and how much time. I mean, if you're just going for a coffee date 3 times, you're probably not getting to the bottom of things. But if you go on a date where you go to dinner at 5:30 and you end up closing the place at 2 o'clock and you do that 3 times, you probably know each other pretty well, right?
That's true.
But it's, with the right person, I have always found that by the time you get to the point of saying, are we doing this? The other person's like, yeah, I thought we already were doing it.
Yeah, you're right. You don't have to have those
You don't really have
conversations.
to
Like
have
there's
the talk if you're both really at the same place and in the same relationship.
yeah. And it's also easier not to wait to have sex to have that, because then at least you've got an anchor or something that's not making you like think irrational.
Yeah.
To where you're not like signing up for a relationship with Satan. Because that could happen.
On date 3, thinking this is the guy, I'm going to sleep with him. And on date 4, you find out that he's having the same relationship with 3 other people.
Oh, that's got to be exactly. You want to make sure that like not only for your health, but also for like your emotional well-being as well. Because that can be like, so many people are in the infamous situationship.
Yes.
Where it's like, and the quickest way to stay out of a situationship is to close your legs until he buys you a house. Right? It solves everything.
Yeah. Sex can really confuse things pretty easily.
Which is why I say amen to the inventor of the vibrator. Hallelujah. That person needs what do they call it? A Nobel Peace Prize.
I'm pretty sure it was a woman. I don't.
It definitely, or I know. Could you imagine if it was a man? He's like, well, I just can't get her off because nope, can't find
I got
it.
this today, honey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so true. All right. Well, Jennifer, you have been so amazing. Where can people contact you, find out more about you, work with you guys, get dating tips, all that good stuff?
So they can go to our website, which is kelleher-international.com. And they can fill out a profile and they will have the opportunity to speak with one of our team members and learn about what we do and share about who they are and what they're looking for. And, there's nobody who isn't a good match for somebody. So we love to meet everybody, as many people as want to talk to us. It just gives us the opportunity to expand either our clients or our candidates and do better.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you guys are single and you're on the apps and you just want to be in the database, sign up. Or if you're actually very serious and you've got pockets to afford it and you want something and you're ready to cut through the bullshit and stop wasting your time, call them as well. So there's something for everybody as long as you're single. But don't be calling them if you're in a relationship. That's just bad karma. It will come out to bite you in the butt.
And we will find out.
Exactly.
Good sleuths on our team. So
yes. I love it. Well, thank you so, so much. And to everybody listening, like your perception predicts or determines your reality. So if you want to have a successful dating love life, start changing how you think about it and step out of lack and scarcity and into abundance. There is no shortage of perfect people out there for you.
Curious. That's the best thing you can do.
Be curious. All right. We will see you next time on Next to Madison to find out who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.